No one said the world of online reviews had to be fair, which is why there's Podium, the most convenient way to take control of your online reputation and score up to 15 times as many reviews. See why leading retailers trust Podium to power over 5 million customer interactions every month at podium.com/total retail.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hi, and welcome to episode 235 of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Total Retail. Joining me today is Kevin Moffitt, Chief Retail Officer at Office Depot, a leading provider of business services and supplies, products, and technology solutions to small, medium, and enterprise businesses. We're going to be discussing Office Depot's transformation from a B2C office supplies retailer to a business services platform. Thanks for joining me, Kevin.
Great to be here, Joe.
So let's get right into it in terms of, as I mentioned, Office Depot's kind of been in this transformation mode. Can you tell us a little bit about, the midst of this business transformation, why the decision was made and a little bit about, what you've been up to at Office Depot?
Sure. I mean, to me, there's a very big gap between Office Depot's complete business and our perception out there in the marketplace. For most people who are just going about their daily lives, commuting from home to work and back, Office Depot is the store that they may pass during that commute, and hopefully a place that they come and shop, maybe as a parent, maybe as a teacher, as a student, but also as a small business owner or someone who purchases for a business. But that's really the perception is really focused in on our stores. And when you have over 1,000 locations across the country, it's pretty obvious why a lot of people would associate us with that experience. But Office Depot for decades has been a much broader business than simply the store-based retail business. We have a very large percentage of our total sales are actually through our B2B channels as well. And what I'm most excited about is as part of our transformation is how we leverage that heritage as a company to continue to grow and invest in the business side of our business. Not only small businesses, but also all the way up to some of the largest companies in the world are Office Depot clients. And many of those we serve through not only our digital channels and our salespeople in the field, but also through our stores. So having that combination of touch points is relatively unique for us, particularly when we think about the scope of customers that we serve through those touch points. A big part of our transformation is how we're leveraging those existing assets, but then building the layers of value that we can provide through those assets. And the key one for me is really focused in on services that we can offer. A lot of folks know us for being able to buy paper and ink and toner and binders and folders, all the essentials of getting your job done. But fewer people know us for our print and marketing copy services that we offer through all of our locations. We also have very robust tech services offerings as well. So a lot of things that not necessarily everyone knows us for, but that we can provide across all of these different customer touch points that we have available to us.
And we're going to get into kind of the role of the store. You mentioned the assets, obviously the significant physical presence across the country with Office Depot stores. But let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned kind of the consumer perception of Office Depot. And, there might be a gap there, and they don't know some of these business services exist and these business technology platforms exist. What then is kind of the next step? How do you kind of remedy that problem? Like, what do you go to market with to try to change the narrative about Office Depot and make known some of these different services that you do offer?
Yeah, how I really look at it is how do you start from that foundation and then build from there, right? So we have this very valuable, strong core on the product side. It is on that paper, ink, toner, business essential side. But then we also offer full technology solutions. We also offer workspace solutions in terms of furniture, desks. If you come into our furniture showrooms in our location, you're going to see a much broader assortment in office furniture than you will just about anywhere else. So, going beyond what you may expect, and the services business side of the business is the same, right? You may know us as a place where you can come in and get color copies, for example, but we provide a full suite of marketing capabilities, from signage to brochures, just different ways that we can enable small business owners, and frankly even mid-tier and beyond, to be able to get new customers, to be able to acquire and retain their customers, and help them grow their businesses, which is really the part of the mission that I'm most excited about, is how do we help entrepreneurs to be successful in their business. And a big part of our mission is, as we see it, is, not necessarily to do your business for you, but to help you do the business that you're really passionate about, to enable your dreams as a business owner by doing some of the, helping you out with the products and services you need to be successful.
My question in terms of a small business owner is, do you find that they're engaging with the brand more coming into your stores, or are you seeing that, heavier concentration or going to the Office Depot website? And kind of a second part of that is, how are you identifying, if I'm a small business owner and I walk into an Office Depot store, you might not know that. How are you kind of self-identifying those people so that you're able to better serve them going forward, both online and in store?
Yeah, those are two really great questions. So first, I'm a huge advocate for taking an omni-channel view of the world and the customer experience. Traditional views are, thinking about the stores and the website separately. Very much in my mind, they are intermingled. And we know that a big chunk of our customers may do research online and then walk into our store to transact, or vice versa. We have customers who come in who want to look and feel. In the case of business furniture, maybe they want to sit down on 20 different types of chairs before they make a decision, and then may ultimately purchase it online. So, to me, how we integrate the channel experiences is really critical. And we're very fortunate. We were one of the first retailers to roll out in-store pickup program. We have a very aggressive 1-hour in-store pickup promise for our stores. So, we're able to leverage that foundation very effectively in helping to develop this omni-channel experience. On the identification side, though, you've really highlighted a big challenge that a lot of retailers face. For us, we've really been focused in on our loyalty program as the primary way that we identify our customers, and are able to segment them into different groups. One of our big challenges, you can imagine, you personally may purchase for your home life, maybe your parent, and you're helping your student out with a school project one day, and then the next day you're buying for your business. And so a big part of our focus is more needs-based as well as segment-based marketing approaches, right in the moment as you come to the website, as soon as you start browsing, searching for products, leveraging that information to help guide that journey through our digital channels. And then we also have enabled our associates in the stores through their mobile devices to be able to connect those dots between a customer's journey online and then how we can help them in the store. So we're really tracking that full view, the full holistic view of customers' interaction with us. And that's been a big part of our success in helping to guide that journey, even connecting it with our call center staff as well. We never want that experience of someone coming in, having a purchase journey, and then they call in and we don't recognize them. That's a big part of our success, specifically around our SMB community, which does have a higher sales volume per person than our consumer segment.
So I want to dig a little deeper into this kind of the omni-channel view of the customer and kind of how this transformation into more of a business services provider and platform has kind of impacted your internal operations. You mentioned some of the different things that you're doing. One of the first to roll out a buy online, pick up in-store program, and kind of the different ways that your in-store associates may be working with these customers once they come in. It's a little bit more of a consultative selling process. Maybe can you just maybe hit on one or two of the different ways that you're operations have kind of been shifted as a result of kind of the transformation, whether that be, your supply chain or, your stores, training for your staff, marketing? I'm sure there's all these different examples that you have, but is there one or two things that you might want to call out?
Yeah, all three of those are probably great examples, right? Our supply chain has really needed to evolve over the last several years to become more omni-channel focused, to be able to efficiently deliver products, whether it's to our distribution centers for next day delivery to our customers, or to our stores for really, when we think about distribution to a store, you generally think about just stocking it on a shelf, having a customer come in, picking it off the shelf, and walking out with it. But there's really multiple options there. Obviously, in-store pickup is one, but we also offer ship from store capabilities across our chain, where if we have specific SKUs that are most conveniently located to a customer's delivery location, we can ship directly from the store. And we also have same-day delivery capabilities in certain markets today, where we're continuing to pilot and test in that area as well. So, our distribution network continues to evolve and frankly become more and more complex as customer needs evolve. It wasn't long ago that same next day delivery was about as fast as you could ever get something to you, and now there's a lot of movement there around same day fulfillment, whether that's in-store pickup or through a same day delivery option. When we think about marketing, a lot of our energy is focused on how we can more efficiently connect with individual communities that we serve. How do we reach out and frankly differentiate our messaging based on the unique needs or culture of a specific market? And that's been an area that we've really focused in on over the past year or so, and continue to look at opportunities to expand that, particularly as it couples with some of the things that our customers are telling us they're really interested. Social networking being one example of that. The more folks are active on mobile and social, we need to be there, and we need to have messaging that's relevant to them in those areas where they're frankly spending a lot of their time. So that when we think about marketing, that's really a key focus. And finally, you talked about the associate experience, which to me is just as important as our customer experience. And for us, it's really been a big focus on training and the development of our client engagement model within our stores. To me, the retailers that really will be successful in this omnichannel world are able to combine outstanding digital tools with outstanding in-store associate-led experiences. And that's been probably our biggest area of transformation in the stores over the last 2 years.
So I want to go back to the first piece of that answer in terms of distribution and supply chain and loop in, your answer around some of the different ways that the stores, the role of the store in that. So can you talk a little bit about how you see the Office Depot brick-and-mortar location evolving, given that the business transformation that's currently underway?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I like to talk about is, even our definition of a store is evolving. There's so many preconceptions about what a store means. But as our transformation continues to accelerate, to me, a store is one component of what our physical locations offer. But that definition is being blurred as we go through this transformation, as more services become integral to that experience, as more community connections become integral to that experience. It becomes less of a store and more of a community center, business solution center. There's probably a bunch of different ways you could describe it, but the important point is that those stores are the physical points of contact to the markets that we serve, and the associates working in those stores, are the face to that brand experience. And to me, it is way beyond the role of just coming in, stocking shelves, and making sure price tags are correct, although those are very important functions. We need to think bigger than that, though. We need to really reimagine how we can best leverage the assets that we have in the field to connect with our customers in deeper ways. And we have some examples of that. Our tests around co-working that we've recently launched at Office Depot is just one expression of that idea that we really can offer very different value to our customers than people probably would expect from us in our physical stores. But we're excited to continue to test concepts like that and other concepts as well that really open up the doors to a future where our stores, in air quotes, really do become places where people can exchange ideas, can learn, can grow, can drive the success of their own businesses and their professional success.
Has there been any look at kind of the optimal store count going forward? We're getting, we've seen, the pressures that a lot of brick and mortar retailers are under, and downsizing. Any thought on, where you're at in terms of physical store count? Are we looking to, remain the same, increase? Are we looking to cut stores? Or kind of any thought around on where you're headed with that?
Yeah, I mean, again, as we just talked about, to me, it's really important that we maintain the broadest set of connections into our communities. If you look at our physical footprint, most of the major markets in the country are supported by convenient retail locations for Office Depot. And we aspire to maintain those contact points going forward. Part of my job is to make sure that our locations remain profitable into the future. And that's honestly, it's a big part of our focus on transformation, because we know that like all retailers, we need to continue to diversify our offerings so that we stay very relevant with the customers that we serve, and frankly acquire new customers that maybe haven't shopped with Office Depot. Although we have a very broad set of customers across the country, certainly have room for many more customers to join us in the future, and that's a big part of why we are so focused on services and other ways that we can connect with those customers.
So, Kevin, one of the challenges that you mentioned, and this isn't specific to B2B versus B2C, is just kind of the identifying the customer. How have you addressed that challenge, or you're working through, I would imagine, technology solutions and some of the different things you've put into place, employee training? Do you want to mention any other challenges that kind of have presented themselves as you shift into being more of a B2B brand, and how you're addressing those challenges?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things that are relatively unique is as you start to put the customer more and more in the center, there's just this general desire to learn more about them, to really be customer focused. You have to understand your customers, and that just requires us to get a deeper and deeper sense of customer behaviors, demographics. On the B2B side, industry information, verticals, so that we can provide solutions that are really more tailored to the needs of those specific segments. One example, we have many locations that are in very, very close proximity to large universities. Are there products and services offerings that we could provide in those locations that are relatively unique to both the student and teacher populations and the businesses that support those students and teacher populations in those locations? So that's one example of just targeting from both a merchandising and marketing perspective the unique needs of the community. But if you go across the country, the business makeup of an Orlando versus an Austin versus a San Jose versus a Minneapolis, there are really unique differences there. And so, we definitely have some technology that supports getting an in-depth view of those customers. But frankly, our like I said, our loyalty program helps to capture that data and helps us to best use it in guiding our messaging to those customers going forward.
The technology piece that you just mentioned, I was interested in that, and as investments in technology, your kind of your technology roadmap in terms of you're addressing more of this B2B consumer. Does that mean what does that mean rather in terms of what you're doing in terms of technology investments?
Yeah, I do. Again, it comes down to in more and more investments in customer-centered technology, and frankly, customer-centered marketing approaches in general. Where I think traditionally you would see more national programs that are designed to go out to everybody all at the same time. We are trying to take the dual approaches of being more specific to individual segments, but also being more point in time focused, so that depending on what you're doing today, that we're really tailoring the message to that specific objective or priority, versus just trying to go out there with the same message to everybody at the same time. And in order to do that, I mean, that sounds pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people would say the same thing, but to actually pull that off does require some pretty advanced technology, and most importantly, for all of your systems to be integrated together, so that you're not, you don't have a bunch of manual workarounds that tend to slow you down.
And then my final question, Kevin, in terms of, looking ahead, what are the focal points for you as you, and for the business as a whole, as it looked to kind of reinvent itself and grow profitably?
Yeah, again, for us, the key is to to bring our mission to life of helping to support business and professional success for our customers, and for them. When I judge my success, it's when I get recognition from our clients on how we've helped them grow their business. I just actually received a letter today from a client who was calling out the partnership that they've had with one of our locations, and how we've helped them to grow their customers and sales over several years. And those kind of stories are really the fuel to my jets, because those long-term relationships, a lot of retailers, are much more focused on the product than the relationship. And where we seek to be different is truly that, to be partners with our clients over the long term, and for them to recognize us as an extended part of their team.
And then your job is to get that story over to marketing, right, and let them run with it and take the message and get that kind of that message out to the greater community.
Exactly. When our best marketing comes from our customers. No doubt about that. And especially in this social and mobile powered world, those kind of stories, I think, have a legitimacy that some more traditional marketing approaches they tend to lack. So absolutely, every chance we have to put a customer on a pedestal, we love those.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Kevin Moffitt of Office Depot for joining me today. Please check out our podcast channel page, mytotalretail.com/podcast, for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. But make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. Also, please take the time to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and I look forward to you joining us on the next episode of Total Retail Talks.
Reviews matter. The way you show up online determines who shows up in your store. Visit podium.com/totalretail to get started today.